Scientists and philosophers have been concerned for countless centuries with the question of whether the world is purely material or whether there is, after all, a spiritual principle within it. The answer to this question either gives us hope for higher justice and the possibility of existence after death, or reduces us to the level of biomechanical robots doomed to suffering and dependent on thousands of random events. Fortunately, modern science is already capable in many respects of answering this question. Yet the answers it obtains through countless studies and experiments turn out to be more astonishing than anyone could have imagined. Watch this video through to the end, and you will learn what the scientist and physicist Fatey Shipunov discovered beyond the boundaries of neutrons and protons, and why what he found there shocked him so deeply and overturned all our notions about the essence of existence. You will also find out what the scientist captured in photographs taken in a cemetery and how he scientifically proved the real existence of the law of karma. Moreover, a glimpse into a field, astonishingly structured in complex systems, awaits you. Most remarkable is that it is precisely humans whom higher powers have called upon to animate matter, that is, to ensoul it. This was once stated by the eminent scientist Fatey Shipunov, and he had good reason for doing so, given his high standing in professional circles. He would not have made such statements without strict facts that had been repeatedly verified through experimentation. Fatey Shipunov was a physicist as well as a doctor of biological sciences, a specialist in quantum mechanics, and head of the Laboratory of Biospheric Phenomena at the Institute of the Lithosphere. There, he and his team studied various phenomena from an energetic perspective. Over the course of their work, the laboratory gathered and thoroughly examined a great deal of valuable and astonishing material. Thus, no matter how skeptical he initially was, the weight of irrefutable evidence forced him to draw incredible conclusions about the structure of the universe. Mathematically, Fatey Shipunov managed to prove that beyond the physical world there exists an even more complex realm than the reality we know. He regarded it as a spiritual domain and noted that this plane of being easily permeates our human space. In experiments, he managed to confirm the presence of different entities, or, as his research team called them, electronic matrices bearing either a positive or a negative sign. Put simply, they proved the reality of a divine and a devilish energy, mentioned in sacred religious texts everywhere and in many occult treatises. Astonishingly, it turns out that we ourselves attract certain astral entities from across the cosmos through our thoughts and actions. Their pull varies from one individual to another. For example, in the vicinity of one person, there are practically no negative entities, whereas another person is so overrun by them that it resembles a black hole bringing misfortune to themselves and those around them. In other words, our thoughts and the actions they lead us to magnetically draw either divine or devilish energies into our souls. This ongoing process, moment by moment, shapes our earthly fate and, most importantly, our post-mortem destiny. In one of his interviews, the scientist made such a shocking statement that it literally gives you goosebumps. "There is a concept of a soulless person," he said. "Our instruments record that around such a person, a sort of vacuum is formed into which these negative electronic matrices settle and begin to control him. Previously, such phenomena were called demonic possession, but now we have found a scientific explanation for them, and it's genuinely frightening." Fatey Shipunov believed that beyond the boundaries of protons, electrons, and other elementary particles of matter, matter ceases to exist, and what begins instead is a highly complex astral world populated by spiritual substances. This world is, moreover, more densely filled with them than the physical sphere of human beings. In his experiments, the scientist discovered that every second, in a space the size of a single square centimeter, we can detect 1 trillion wave function signals. Each of these signals is a spiritual entity with either a negative or a positive sign. Shipunov also claimed that modern science has discovered the realm of the spirit, that it has essentially reached the threshold beyond which it should work closely with mystics and theologians, who have long understood the essence of these subtle matters. In studying wave functions, which Shipunov did for years, he spotted a troubling trend. The number of spiritual entities with a negative sign is growing. Scientific instruments that document these entities confirm the existence of an anti-world. That realm lacks a creative principle, it can only destroy the material world. No special proof is needed, as you can simply observe current events. Increasing military and political conflicts, horrifying diseases and epidemics, a general surge in hostility and egotism. All of this provides vivid and incontrovertible confirmation of the scientist's words. According to Shipunov, we humans are the ones responsible for the growth in these negative energies, since we attract them from across the universe through our negative thoughts and actions. Of course, every person attracts them differently, but they invariably affect not only the individual but also everyone nearby, especially family, friends, and co-workers. How does this occur? Shipunov explained that wave functions possess high plasticity and contain all the information of the universe. Because of this plasticity, they can exist in various forms and pass through any physical structures without disturbing or altering them. In other words, both good and evil energies pass unobstructed through anything. Shipunov also made another striking discovery that confirms ancient religious and mystical views about humans. He scientifically proved that we are endowed with a wave function, a spiritual substance known as the soul, and that it holds all the information about the universe. This is possible because the soul, he said, exists outside of both time and space. However, so long as the material body and the spiritual substance are united, a person cannot actualize this potential. He argued that since the soul encompasses all knowledge of existence, by intensively developing our spiritual capacities, each of us can accomplish remarkable feats in nearly any field, for instance, becoming a polyglot without great effort. Unfortunately, governments around the world attempt to conceal these unique, shocking discoveries, as they do the discoveries of many other researchers. Consequently, Shipunov lamented that scientists are prevented from publishing studies in which they could explain and mathematically confirm the presence of diabolical and divine forces in our world. Of course, believers have long been aware of this, but for atheists and skeptics, solid proof of the real struggle between good and evil, both among people and within each person, would be valuable. Fatey Shipunov's incredible discoveries also lend scientific credibility to the principles of karma. He said our words, deeds, and the events in the material world are stored in the universe, and the wave functions that control the physical realm can see the entire universe at once. Thus, the energetic waves we generate inevitably return like a boomerang to the one who set them in motion. Every perpetrator of evil will, in the end, face retribution, and every good deed will be richly rewarded. This is no longer a mere metaphysical supposition but an undeniable fact supported by physics and mathematics. It is worth noting that Shipunov was also asked in one interview about poltergeists and similar devilish phenomena in waveform, whether he considered them real or merely figments of the imagination. He answered in the affirmative, stating that they are very real demonic manifestations emerging from the anti-world and bringing only destruction. The most shocking discoveries the scientist made concern the fact that a person's energetic component persists after death. As he himself said, a deceased person's soul is very similar to them. It's just as they were. We often took photographs in the Vagankovskoye cemetery, and when we developed them, we were appalled at what we saw. Appearing in these photographs were glowing shapes floating a few meters above the graves, still attached electromagnetic matrices of the dead, swaying in the wind over the burial place. Sometimes they didn't detach at all. Possibly it's these phenomena that gave rise to the stories of ghosts in cemeteries. In any event, it was disturbing to witness. That's why performing funeral rites is so crucial. It helps the soul separate correctly from the body and continue on its journey rather than remain trapped in its own grave. Tragically, Shipunov died prematurely under mysterious circumstances. He was found dead at his dacha near Shamardino. He never had the chance to publish the full results of his experiments, which explained much of what is happening in the world and exposed many individuals in positions of power. On the other hand, what Fatey Shipunov discovered gives us hope, showing that nothing in this world is accidental and that everything is subject to strict and immutable laws, under which ultimately good will prevail. Share your thoughts on this topic in the comments. If you, too, believe in the eventual victory of good, give this a like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new videos about the mystical sides of life. Thank you so much for watching, and best wishes for luck and kindness to everyone.